Hi, good afternoon, everyone. This is U.S. Immigration Attorney Sharifa Tharpe, and I am live this 4th of July to take your U.S. immigration questions. First of all, happy Independence Day. Happy 4th of July. I hope you're off to a good start if you're in the United States, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your holiday today and tomorrow, and that you've been having a great weekend. So I am here as usual. It doesn't matter that it's a holiday. I always show up every day to take your U.S. immigration questions. And so I'm here today to take your questions. So if you have a U.S. immigration related question that you would like to ask, you can go ahead and put that question in the comments right now as I talk about the topic that I'm going to bring today. You can also be putting your questions in the comments as well. So I would like to formally introduce myself. I'm U.S. Immigration Attorney Sharifa Tharpe, and I help clients to get their green cards and status in the United States. One of the things I also do is I come on here every day to take your questions. So even if you don't have a question today, but you may have a question in the future, you can always follow me. And as soon as you see me go live, you can hop on with me and ask your question, because that is exactly why I'm here, is to answer your U.S. immigration related questions. I usually come with a topic to talk about. And today I'm going to talk about the applying for the green card through a family member. Doesn't just have to be through marriage, but family members and what that all involves. Hi, Jay Hind. It's nice to see you. You can go ahead and put your questions in the comments when you're ready. I am going to be talking about how to apply for the green card through family, not necessarily just a spouse. I'm going to go through all of the processes, the pros and cons, and what the processes involve, especially if you're here without status and you're trying to figure out how to get from no status in the US to getting your green card through that qualifying relative. So I have a big topic to talk about today, but keep in mind that you and your questions are my priority. So you can go ahead, no matter what the topic is that I'm talking about. It doesn't matter if your question is related or not to my question. I want to hear your question, because my main priority is to answer your immigration related questions. Also, if you want to learn more about me as a U.S. immigration attorney, you can also go to the link in my bio where you will be able to schedule a consultation. Right now, even though it's a holiday weekend, it's still very important for us to be available to our clients and to individuals who want to schedule consultations. And so we do have scheduling coordinators who are still willing to stay on hand to take your calls and to schedule your consultation. So you can call between 12 to 5. So we're coming down to 5 o'clock. So if you want to schedule a consultation, now is the time to do it. So Mama, what is the timeline for biometrics after receiving the notice in Vermont? So right now we're looking at least 3 months. There is a backlog. In some cases, if you already have fingerprints, they are reusing your fingerprints to avoid that whole fingerprinting backlog, but prepare for 3 to 4 months on average. However, we're also I have seen as long as 6 months. So unfortunately, there is a backlog, but keep in mind that 3 to 4 months is the average right now. Hi, how long does it take to get an invite for an immigrant visa? So right now, Sweet Love 26, it really depends. Thank you for that question. And so what I'm going to do is go through the processing times and of the processing times related to who is sponsoring you for the green card, because I think that's what you're asking here. So the first timeline is if you're the immediate relative of a U.S. citizen. That means you're the spouse of a U.S. citizen, you're the parent of a U.S. citizen, and that U.S. citizen is 21 years and up, or you are the son or daughter of a U.S. citizen who is under 21 and unmarried. If you fall within that category, then right now you could be looking at 18 months. Also, if you came into the country with your visa, you could also qualify for adjustment of status. Either way, whether you're in the country or applying from outside of the United States, it's going to be, and in this case, you said immigrant visa. So in this case, if you fall within that category, you could be looking at 18 months to 24 months. It could be shorter than that, but that is the average time, 18 months. Now, if you don't fall into that category, but you fall into the category of spouse of a green card holder or son or daughter under 21 of a green card holder, that process right now is taking on average about the same timeline as a U.S. citizen would for their immediate relatives. So you could be looking at 18 months to 24 months for process if you're a spouse of a green card holder or you are the son or daughter of a green card holder who is under 21 and unmarried. If you are the son or daughter of a U.S. citizen who is 21 and up, you're looking unfortunately at a 6 to 7 year process after they apply. And if you are a son or daughter of a green card holder who is over 21 and over and unmarried, very important here because green card holders can't sponsor their married children, you're looking at 5 to 6 years. If you're the married son or daughter of a U.S. citizen, you can take your spouse and your children under 21 along with you. That's taking 12 years, unfortunately. And if you have a U.S. citizen sibling, it's taking at minimum 14 years in the Caribbean, and it could go longer depending on the country. For example, in Mexico, it's taking 22 years. So keep that in mind. So that in a nutshell are the timelines related to who is sponsoring you for the green card. Tanaji 1. Just moved to different state, got N400 biometrics in previous state, good to go back and take it next week. So Tanaji, I don't know what your situation is, and since you are applying from a different state, it could complicate your situation because one of the things is that you must be applying in the state of your residence for a minimum of Hi Tuk Tuk 1981. Happy 4th of July. Thank you so much. Now you have to show that you've been living in your state of residence for a minimum of 3 months. Now you did apply and hopefully you were the resident of your state at that time, but if you don't change your address, what's going to happen is even your interview is going to be scheduled. Furthermore, you must change your address. So you can't, as a green card holder, you usually have 11 days or 10 days, to change your address. So I can't advise you, but specifically whether to go or stay without knowing your full circumstances. However, what I can tell you is that, and if you have changed it, get in touch with them and see if they can change your biometrics appointment. So keep your questions coming and I will answer your questions. So far, these have been great questions. And Tanaji, I can't tell you what to do. If you do want personal legal advice about the consequences of that, it's very important to get legal advice. I can't tell you whether to go or stay without looking at the full breadth of your facts. because I don't want to tell you what to do in specific. It's not fair to you. And then you do something and make a mistake, because the state that you live in and where you have moved to and how it's going to dictate the process, there can be consequences as a result of that. So you want to make sure that you do everything right. So, hi, happy 4th of July. Great, Aurora, same to you. Happy 4th of July. So the E2 visa, Tanashi, you're welcome. The E2 visa is for individuals who are either working for a company and that company wants to send them to the United States to do essential functions in the United States, such as take on a managerial role or some sort of essential function, get the business started. Or if you own the business yourself and you want to move to the United States to expand your business or start a business. Now, the important part about that is, if you have watched the E2 visa video, I have put in there some countries that qualify in the Caribbean, such as Grenada, Jamaica, Trinidad, Panama. For Central American countries, Panama, Costa Rica, Mexico. South American countries would be Argentina, Bolivia. Now, if you are a citizen of one of these countries, if you can show that you have, or you're currently making a substantial investment in a U.S. company, and that company is an E2 country, meaning you own about 50% of that, at minimum 50% of that company, or it belongs to the country that's an E2 country, you could possibly qualify for this. Now, the amount of the investment is not, there is no specific amount that you must have. However, you must show that you have a substantial investment for the type of business that you're running. What paper do we need to sponsor a case-based marriage? So it depends. I don't usually get into the forms here, just because I have seen situations where people try to do it on their own and they pick the wrong forms, they submit the wrong forms. I don't list forms here until I know your facts. But if they're in the United States and it's marriage based, you're doing an adjustment of status, that means staying in the United States and applying for the green card, you're usually going to submit a petition. That relative is going to submit a petition at the same time as you're going to submit the adjustment of status application, at the same time that you're going to submit the work permit application and even a travel document and then throughout the process you get the work permit and be able to get to the interview eventually. If you're outside of the United States, you're sponsoring a relative outside of the United States, usually you start with the petition, and then throughout the process, they're going to give you additional documents that you need to submit, complete, and submit. Can I apply for a non-immigrant visa in Trinidad, although I'm a citizen of Guyana? So yes, if you are a resident in Trinidad, you do have that freedom to apply, but you have to make sure that you are upfront with them, you provide them all the information they need to show that you are the citizen of Guyana to be able to get the visa. What if my company laid off my EB3 I-485 pending from 280 days by a done? What will be next? So Tanaji, schedule a consultation. When it comes on to employment based, especially the EB3, very important that you, especially if they laid you off. So if they laid you off and they're the company and they're sponsoring you, that could affect your eligibility for the green card. So very important that you get legal advice to determine what your rights are now. How much time takes the USCIS to prove the I-360 application as a religious worker? So with this, it depends on who is processing it, the service center that's processing the application. Mohammed, what you can do is if you go to uscis.gov and you go to case processing times, you'll be able to search for the service center that your application is at right now and the I-360, And then once you locate that, it's going to give you the time range that they take to process this for religious workers. My husband lives in the US. Do I think I can try for a visa while he's putting the paperwork in? You can always apply for a visa, but keep in mind that the fact that there is an employment-based petition, then it's very important for you to, if there is an let me see. So if there is a petition that's pending, Vlogs with Kayla, you want to make sure that you're honest with them about that, and you want to make sure that you can show how you plan to still return to your home country after a temporary visit to your spouse. I can tell you that that likely will affect the officer's decision as well if they do see that you already have a pending green card application, because what it means is that you have an immigrant intent. I have seen where, for example, other categories, for example, the F3 or the F4 category, spouses, married children of U.S. citizens or siblings of U.S. citizens, where it's a 14-year process, they still do allow them to travel back and forth on a visa because it's such a long process. However, in your case, where it's the F2A, it is right now it's current, and that means that you could be getting, it's a shorter process. And so that could affect your ability to get the green card, because that means you have immigrant intent somewhere very close in the future. I'm a teacher. Can I apply for my own working visa to teacher in the U.S.? And what is the process? So Malaysian, it's going to depend on who sponsors you. Do you have a U.S. employer who's willing to sponsor you? That is the most important part first. SAMI missions. So the consultation is $150 for up to an hour. And this is where you really get the good information you need to determine whether you qualify, come up with a game plan, determine whether you need representation. That is a decision you can make after you get legal advice about whether you're on the right track. These consultations have prevented individuals at a minimum from making mistakes in their immigration process. Now, if you would like to schedule a consultation, go to the link in my bio. It's going to take you to the website. You can call the phone number. Right now, there's a scheduling coordinator who is available up until 5 p.m. today to get your call, schedule a consultation with you. You can also complete a contact form. On that contact form, you're going to provide your information, and a scheduling coordinator will get back to you either on the same day or on another business day. Tanaji 1, yes, that would be great, because it sounds like you do have a complex issue. Now, but yeah, it is definitely a complex issue. Now, another thing is your eligibility. I saw you asked about your EAD eligibility, and that would definitely be impacted if the employer is not going to sponsor you anymore. So definitely get advice about your rights here and what you can do going forward. Can I sponsor a friend who's been here about 15 years with an expired visa? BACO 800, unfortunately not. As the law stands right now, you would not be able to do that. Vlogs with Kayla, you are welcome. So keep those questions coming. I am here to answer your questions. I have come with a topic as well, and as you can see, one of the questions helped me to introduce that topic, and that's who qualifies to apply for your green card. Now, the next thing is, what is the process? What does the process look like? BACO 800, you're welcome. So what does the process look like? I told you who can sponsor you, and based on who's sponsoring you, how long that process could take. So now, what does that process look like? If you're in the United States, first of all, already, do you qualify to adjust status in the United States? And when I say adjust status, I mean, do you qualify to stay in the United States and apply for your green card? And even if you're undocumented, can you qualify? Now, It depends, and there are specific individuals who qualify to adjust status. So you want to make sure you qualify, because if you don't and you apply, you're going to get denied, and it could complicate your case further. So if you don't, who qualifies? Let's start with that. So if you're the immediate relative of a U.S. citizen, that means you're the spouse of a U.S. citizen, you're the parent of a U.S. citizen who's 21 and up, or you are the son or daughter of a U.S. citizen who is under 21 and unmarried, you take priority in the green card process. And if you came into the country with a visa and then overstayed that visa, you could qualify still to adjust status in the United States. Now, as long as everything else in your background, criminal issues, past immigration violations, if there are more of those, it could affect your eligibility for adjustment of status. But if you're clean in other areas and you just came in and overstayed your visa, except for the crewman's visa, keep that one in mind, you can adjust status in the United States. Now, if you came across the border without a visa, without permission, you would not be qualified to adjust status in the United States. There is another process for that, and I'll explain that a little later. But right now I'm talking about who qualifies to stay in the United States and apply for the green card, even if they're fallen out of status. Another set is if you have a U.S. citizen or green card holder spouse, if you're under 25 and you have a U.S. citizen or green card holder parent, or if you have a citizen son or daughter who's 21 and up and they are mistreating you, they're putting you through the ringer, then this could be a way for you to adjust status in the United States. Apply for the green card, get a work permit while you wait, and adjust status without leaving. Even if you know, with this does allow you to be able to adjust status even if you cross the border without permission, if that crossing the border without permission is linked in some way to the mistreatment. Very important that you get legal advice. An attorney can help to really evaluate your situation to see if you could qualify for this, because it could fix your status whether you came into the United States with a visa or not. Now, another way to adjust status in the United States is if you are related in some, so if you're related, you have a U.S. citizen sibling, you have a U.S. citizen parent, you have a U.S. citizen son or daughter who is 21 and up, you could be able to adjust status. Now, if you have I am sorry about that. I lost connection. Now, if you have a U.S. citizen, son or daughter who's 21 and up, and you came into the country with permission, you can adjust status. That means came into the country with a visa. But if you have a U.S. citizen or green card holder parent, a spouse, and you currently, or a sibling even, and you currently have status in the United States. So say you've been working for the past couple of years on another type of visa that allows you to adjust status, then you would be able to adjust status as long as you can maintain your legal status for the duration of the process. So this is a case where you haven't overstayed your visa, you're still current. Now keep in mind though, a visitor's visa is not going to work here. So you can't keep extending your visitor's visa. They don't allow that. It's a maximum of 240 days that you can even extend your visa, visitor's visa. You can't leave the country, have a visitor's visa, leave and then come back and try to keep staying in the United States. That actually can get your visa revoked. So you can't do that. The B visa is not going to work with like a student visa or an employment-based temporary visa where you're here, you're working. For example, you may be going to school, and then after you go to school, you may be recruited by an employer who filed an H-1B for you. In a case like that, and it takes years and years for you, and you can maintain your status, then that is one way to stay in the United States and adjust status no matter who your relative is. The challenging part is just to maintain status for that long. For example, being the sibling of a U.S. citizen, that is 14 years at minimum. So it's challenging to be able to maintain legal status for that time. However, in other cases, if you have fallen out of status and you're being mistreated by a U.S. citizen or legal permanent resident spouse, parent if you're under 25, or a citizen son or daughter who's 21 and up, doesn't matter. There are ways to still apply for the green card, whether you came into the country with a visa, whether you came in without permission, or even if you're maintaining status. So that there is basically how you can stay in who qualifies to stay in the United States. Now, also, if you applied for a diversity visa, that's basically the green card for the green card, the lottery for the green card, and you can maintain your status here. You can adjust status that way here, and also, if you have a T or U visa, that's victims of trafficking, victims of crime. If you have a T or U visa, after 3 years, you can apply for your green card after the 3 years and adjust status in the United States. So those are ways that you can stay here and apply without leaving. Now, what if you don't qualify, right? What if you're here in the United States, but you don't qualify to apply while you stay in the United States? How do you fix that? Now, there is a way to fix it, and it's going to be through the waiver process. Now, if you have a U.S. citizen or a legal permanent resident spouse or parent who will experience extreme hardships if you don't get the green card, that's one way to apply for this waiver, and you can stay in the United States and apply for the waiver. Now, here's what the waiver does. If you're here, you are stuck here, right? Because if you overstayed by over 6 months, so if you overstayed over 6 months, 180 days, if you just leave the country without getting this waiver, you're going to be barred from re-entering the country for a minimum of 3 years. If you overstay over a year, and you leave the country without this waiver, it's going to be a 10-year bar. That means no visa, no green card, no re-entering the United States. So what you have to do first is you have to apply for the waiver based on the extreme hardship of your U.S. citizen or green card holder spouse or parent. And now, once you get approved, you can stay in the United States for the duration of the process. It ranges really from 6 months to Christina, thanks for sharing the live. It varies from 6 months to even 2 years, unfortunately. But for that time, you can stay in the United States and wait for a decision. Once it's approved in your home country, you would be able to go ahead and attend the interview at your embassy. Now, I noticed we got disconnected, so I'm going to say that again. You can stay in the United States and apply for this waiver, and if it's approved, then you can wait for your interview to be scheduled and then go to your home country in time for the interview, and then that unlawful presence, that overstay, won't be held against you at the interview. To qualify for this, you usually have to make sure it's your only immigration violation. So, for example, if you came into the country with a fake visa or a fake passport, then you likely wouldn't be able to stay in the United States and apply for this type of what's called a provisional unlawful presence waiver. Now, what does extreme hardship mean for this waiver? Because remember, to qualify for this waiver, to be able to go to your home country to complete the green card process, you're going to need to show that your U.S. citizen or green card holder spouse or parent will experience extreme hardship if you don't get the green card. Now, extreme hardship doesn't mean that they'll be inconvenienced. So it doesn't mean that they will have to figure out who's going to pick up the kids while they're at work. What it means is that it's a compelling type of hardship. It's going to create devastating effects for them. So, for example, it's going to affect their finances. It's going to affect their employment prospects. It's going to affect their education prospects. It's going to affect their health. These are good examples of extreme hardships on a U.S. citizen or legal permanent resident spouse. Another thing to stress here is that extreme hardship, unfortunately, it's not based on your hardship as an immigrant. You have to have the qualifying relative to show that the extreme hardship is going to be theirs, not yours. While the officer may consider it, it's not the most important part of the officer's decision-making process. Now, it's very important to understand that preparation is key with this type of waiver. You can't just fill in a form and, within a few sentences say exactly why this amounts to extreme hardship. You have to show evidence, detailed evidence, provide affidavits, provide declarations, provide medical evidence, provide solid documentary evidence, reports, country research reports to show that this will cause extreme hardships on your U.S. citizen or legal permanent resident, spouse or parent. Another thing to consider is the hardships that will result, extreme hardships that will result if you had to leave the country or you didn't get the green card, or if they had to relocate to your home country with you if you didn't get the green card. Now, some common extreme hardships when they have to relocate is to show that they will face crime in your country. They'll be targeted. They'll be persecuted. That your relative will face cultural barriers, language barriers, employment obstacles, that they will face lack of healthcare due to a bad healthcare system in that country. And keep in mind that that list is there. These are examples. It is not an exclusive list. It really is on a case-by-case basis, and it depends on what kind of compelling extreme hardships will result in your particular circumstance. That's why it's so important to get legal advice if this at all feels like something familiar. If you even want to figure out if you can qualify for this, go ahead and schedule a consultation with me, and I can help you get started, get going on this. Now, what does this process look like, right? So I told you what extreme hardship is. I've told you who qualifies for the extreme hardship waiver. And I'm going to reiterate, this is for individuals who are in the United States without status and they're stuck here. How can they fix their status to go on to get the green card? So this is what that's all about. Now, the next process is, what's the waiver process like? And the first is that your relative will still file a petition for the green card. After a while, right now it's taking a little over a year. Once it's approved, then the next step is to prepare for the waiver. That's very important here. It's very important to get assistance with this, because getting assistance and putting a good application together could really make the difference here for you. So once you get that approved waiver, you're going to attach it to the approved to the waiver packet, the application, and submit it. And then you're going to wait to see a decision. You can wait in the United States for that decision. And then, all being well, you get an approval. It's going to be that approved petition is going to be sent to your home country. They're going to either wait for an immigrant visa number to become available for you to move forward with the interview. And if you'd already have an immigrant visa number available to you, your status is current. That means their status is current. That means that they will now they will then send you off, right? Send it off to the National Visa Center, ask you for the required evidence. Hi there, gay you. It's nice to see you. Go ahead, put your questions in, by the way. I'm covering a topic that I think is very important to share. I'm talking about a very broad topic right now, and that's basically how can you apply for the green card through certain family members. But in addition to that, I'm talking about If you're in the United States and you're undocumented, how can you fix your status? How can you stay in the United States and apply for the green card, even if you already overstayed your visa? So I've already covered most of that topic, and now I'm talking about the process of applying for forgiveness for an overstay to be able to complete the green card process. The National Visa Center will get in touch with you. They will schedule your appointment, and then once your appointment is scheduled, you can be rest assured that by that point, especially if you have an attorney to advise you along the way, that it's safe to take your approved waiver and attend the interview. As long as you don't have any other disqualifying, so no criminal issues, no other immigration violations, you should be safe with an approved waiver to go to your home country and complete the green card process there. Hi, is there any way I can get through faster? I lost my baby and my husband is in New York. So there are ways to expedite the green card process. First of all, I'm so sorry that you lost your baby. Now, there are ways to expedite the process. You do have to show evidence and to show the compelling need for why your application has to go through faster. That's where you can definitely get assistance to help with that process. So Joseph Ugo, I didn't see your question. What you can do is go ahead and retype your question. Now, sometimes your questions, I did get disconnected for a bit. So if your question didn't come across to me, what you can do is go into the question box and put your question there again. So what about if you had a criminal felony about 5 years ago? My dad held the green card and never allowed me to renew it. So get legal advice. Now, just the fact that, and now it's been over 10 years, overstay. So Ezra, get legal advice, because it sounds like your dad stopped you from renewing your green card. If you had a green card and you didn't renew it, not renewing the green card, the card itself, doesn't terminate your permanent residence. You possibly could have a chance at renewing it, but now there's that complicated issue of the felony. And so you want to get legal advice about whether that felony can affect your eligibility for the green card. Will they renew it, or could they possibly revoke your green card based on that that felony? Ezra, I can't stress enough, get legal advice, because it could go either way at this point. Just having a felony alone doesn't necessarily have to disqualify you. But you want to make sure before you submit any application. And keep in mind that not renewing the card itself doesn't mean that you stop being a permanent resident, but we have to look at that criminal issue. And Joseph, go ahead, retype your question if you would like an answer. Now, I have been talking about how to fix your status. Ezra, you're welcome. Now, if you want to schedule a consultation, it's for those of you who are listening, who you don't necessarily want to ask a question here, but you could really do with a consultation, you can call 561-405-4889 to schedule your consultation. There is a scheduling coordinator who is available right now up until 5 p.m. today to take your call and schedule a consultation. So go ahead and put your questions in the comments, but you can also call and schedule a consultation yourself. And now what that is the consultation, as long as it's confirmed. So Ezra, it's 561-405-4889. And you can also go to the link in my bio. And the link in my bio will lead you to the website where you can fill out a contact form if you really don't want to call. I know it's a holiday right now. You're probably sitting in the room with family members right now and you don't have time to make that call. You can fill out that contact form, and on the next business day, a scheduling coordinator will get back in touch with you and schedule your appointment. Now, if you would like to call, there is someone available right now up until 5 p.m. to take your call. And on weekdays, Monday to Friday, there is someone from 9:30 a.m. up until 11 p.m. to take your call and schedule a consultation. I do these hours to be able to enable you to call, and thank you so much, Ezra. That is exactly why I'm here. So I do make these hours available. So if you're off or you work and you want to do it on your off time, you have plenty of opportunity to do that. So I have been finishing the topic of how to fix your status in the United States through family. Now, one thing I do want to mention, I've been talking about this waiver process. And see, I just got notification just a while ago that someone completed a contact form. So it is that easy. So it's that easy, guys. You can go ahead and give us your information and a scheduling coordinator will get back to you. This will go to the scheduling coordinator and they will contact you and put you on my schedule. So it's that easy. It takes a few seconds to do it. So go to the link in my bio. You can do it that way or call 561-405-4889. So I have been talking about how to fix your status in the United States if you have been in the United States or outside of the United States. Now I'm really covering that topic of if you're in the United States, you want to fix your status, but you don't qualify to stay in the United States, how can you still fix it? And I've been talking about that extreme hardship waiver. If you have a U.S. citizen or green card holder spouse or parent who will experience extreme hardship if you don't get the green card, this could be for you. And in some cases, some people, this is their only hope to get the green card. So that's why it's important to hear me out here and make sure you listen up about this process and schedule a consultation. I know it's a lot to absorb. Just knowing about this could definitely be life-changing for you. So I do want to explain, but know that if you have a U.S. citizen or legal permanent resident spouse or parent, you either don't qualify for adjustment of status or you came into the country without your papers, you cross the border without permission, this could be for you. Now, many people always say, well, yeah, forget about that, but what if I want to get it through another way, not through family? So you're here, you are without your papers, and you want to fix your status through some other means. I'm going to tell you now that even if you're in the United States and you say, for example, an employer agrees to sponsor you to fix your status through a waiver, you're still going to need to have a U.S. citizen or a legal permanent resident spouse or parent. Also, two WIDs, I got my VAWA green card last week. Congratulations. This gives me so much joy. The reason being, many people don't know that VAWA, if you qualify, can help you to fix your status. If you're in the United States, even if you cross the border without permission, even if you came into the country and you're out of status, a VAWA green card can fix your status. To Wiz, thanks for sharing that, and I am so happy for you. That gives me joy to hear it all the time, to see my clients get it this way. It's so life-changing because so many of my clients, mostly all of them, didn't know they had this option until they watched my video and they realized that this could possibly be for them. So let me cover that, get a little more in depth. I did cover it before, but let me cover it again. If you have a U.S. citizen, oh great, Kashmeen, I'm going to go through this for you. So if you have a U.S. citizen or green card holder spouse or parent, so to Wiz, if you did this through marriage base, it's going to be 3 years that you can apply. Now, if you have a U.S. citizen or green card holder spouse or parent, now if you have the parent, you have to be under 25. And if you have a U.S. citizen, son or daughter is 21 and up, and they are mistreating you, they have mistreated you, this is a way for you to qualify for the green card, apply for your own green card, and not involve that relative, even if you're still living with them, even if you're still living with that relative. And in some cases, even if you're already divorced, If you divorce a spouse who mistreated you verbally, emotionally, financially, then this can qualify you, and also physically. But keep in mind, physical violence is not required. Now, many people ask, I don't have evidence. I don't have any evidence. You think you don't have evidence. Because what I can tell you here is that your detailed statement, your memory can help you. So using your memory to create a detailed statement, a detailed declaration, if it presents to the officer as credible and believable, it can be evidence. Also, psychological evaluation, other kinds of evidence. Any believable evidence is admissible here. So if you have, for example, a text messages, if you have video that can be transcribed, if you have audio, if you have pictures, those can also qualify. But keep in mind, you don't need to have all of them at one time. If you are lacking in evidence, it doesn't mean that it didn't happen to you. You would just have to, what I do is I sit down and work with my clients to make sure we can put that evidence together in a way that presents to the officer in a credible way, that they understand that this happened to you. So to Wiz, thanks for sharing that. Now, if you came across the border without permission or you came in with permission, this could still apply. Also, you can stay in the United States and apply for a work permit. It takes about 2 to 2.5 years, depending on who you're applying, based on the type of relationship and the type of mistreatment. But if you apply, you can then get a work permit while you wait for the whole process to be completed. So it costs so much for the paperwork. Is there a cheaper work? So it depends. You may qualify for fee waiver. So it all depends. But it's definitely an investment. Definitely an investment that you should work towards. But there are also ways to apply for fee waivers. But it depends on the type of application that you're applying for. But this is your future, and so because when it comes on to the process, sometimes you do have to invest in an attorney. But investing in an attorney, investing in the fees is important because this is your future. You do have to invest, right? If you want to make money, you have to spend money. You have to invest in your business. And so definitely work towards it, make it a priority, and consult with an attorney to see if there are fee waivers available for you, because sometimes they can waive the fee based on your hardships that you're going through. So where do I go to get a fee waiver? We are getting the spouse visa. So it all depends. Midnight, I don't talk about forms and where to go to get these forms, because what happens is a lot of people go and fill out forms that don't apply to the situation and get into more trouble. So you definitely would have to schedule a consultation for me to start detailing forms and stuff, because I do have to know your specific details. And it differs from some applications don't have a fee waiver available while others do. If I came as soon as flights open up and get married and then apply for a green card, can I do that? Kula bossa, in some cases, it may. Now, when you're entering the United States, you cannot have the intent. So if you're coming in on a visa, you can't have the intent to come into the United States to get married, to stay in the United States. It's your right to get married anywhere you want to get married, but you can't have that intention. However, things do change. People come to the United States and fall in love. People come to the United States to see their beloved and end up getting married and staying, and that's okay. You could possibly apply for an adjustment of status if you have a U.S. citizen spouse and you came into the country with a visa, even if you overstayed. Kula bossa, thank you for the follow, and thanks for saying that. I appreciate you too. How much is your consultation? It's $150. I'm sorry about that, guys. It's $150 for up to an hour. Kolabosa, you're welcome. For up to an hour. Now, I always follow that with it is worth it, because you walk out of this consultation knowing what you qualify for. It has prevented individuals from making devastating mistakes in their own process, and you really can make an informed decision about how to go about approach your situation, whether to get legal representation after you go through this. So very important, schedule a consultation. Great Colabosa, I am looking forward to speaking with you. I do Zoom. Now, one thing I want to let you know is that I represent clients all over the country and the world. I have clients in countries in Africa, in the Caribbean, in Europe, in South America. So I represent clients all over the world. I'm not limited by state lines or borders. For those of you who would like to do a consultation first to determine whether you want representation, whether you want me to represent you, and to get legal advice, that's the most important part. I do video and phone for those of you who are not close based on your preference. And if you're close by, if you're close to Boca Raton, that's Palm Beach County, or Fort Lauderdale, that's Broward County in Florida, you want to see me in person, I do offer in-person consultations as well. So call 561-405-4889. You can schedule a consultation up until 5 p.m. today. Keep in mind that my phone lines are open 24/7. So even if a scheduling coordinator is not working, you can still call, leave your name and information, and I will go ahead and a scheduling coordinator will get back to you on the next business day. Smiles, I do Zoom calls. Absolutely. Emil, thanks for the follow. So that is going to be it for me today. It was a pleasure to answer all your questions. So is there a varied cost for your services? So yes, it really depends on, and that's one of the reasons why it's so important to do the consultation on my end, because I don't do blanket fees. If it's a complicated matter, if it's something that I really look at the entire situation to determine what will work and how much work it's going to take. So yeah, and you get that quote in the consultation. So thanks so much for your questions, everyone. I'm looking forward to hearing from those of you who would like legal advice, you'd like to take advantage of that. You can go to the link in my bio if you want to go to the website, get the phone number, fill out a contact form. And I am here every day. So if you're even not ready to schedule a consultation, but you want to continue to follow me so you can hop on to my lives, Emil, I'm looking forward to hearing from you. You want to hop on to my lives and you want to ask your questions, here's your chance to do it. I'm not just here for consultations. I'm here to answer your questions. And while my videos are very specific, I do help clients to get their green cards in different ways, but I do like to help people who don't have status and they really want to figure out how to fix their status. So if you want to ask questions outside of my usual videos, you can come on and ask any immigration related questions that you like. It's been a pleasure. If you're in the United States, enjoy the rest of your holiday weekend today. Happy 4th of July. Enjoy today and tomorrow if you're off. And I'll be back tomorrow, so it's not the end of me. Follow me so you can hop on with me and join me live again. Thanks, everyone. See you tomorrow.